Hey guys, and welcome back to Living in Truth. Now today we're going to go over what is domestic violence. I found a definition from Women's Aid. Women's Aid are an organisation that help women and children against abuse. So I found a definition on their website which I thought was quite good. Women's Aid defines domestic abuse as an incident or pattern of incidents of controlling, threatening, degrading and violent behaviour, including sexual violence, in the majority of cases by the partner or ex-partner, also by a family member or carer. The vast majority of cases experienced by women and is perpetrated by men. It can happen to anybody, any sex, race, straight, gay, traditional. Physical and sexual, financial and economic abuse, harassment and stalking, and online and digital abuse, and that many people are suffering from this in silence. Now this could be controlling or threatening behaviour. It is a crime. Please report it to the police if you are going through it or you think somebody else is going through it. If you feel like you're in an emergency and your life is at risk, please call the police. Emotional abuse, can't see the scars, but it definitely leaves a mark mentally. Before I left the relationship, before I found out my partner was cheating, the effects were taken toll on my mental health. So one day I just woke up and I was crying, I was depressed, I was anxious, and I didn't know why. I thought it was myself, and I actually went to the perpetrator and told him that, and it was like he was kind of happy about it. He didn't comfort me or nothing like that, so he knew that what he was doing was working. I went to him and told him that I feel like my mental health is declining. It can take some time to heal. You have to leave the abuser, you have to be away from them to heal. If you're still in contact with them, if you're still living under their roof, the healing process is going to take a while. It really is. People who also suffer from emotional abuse tend to have very low self-esteem, like I said, depressed and anxious. When I left that relationship, I was all of that. I was not, thank God I wasn't suicidal, but I was depressed, I was anxious, and I had very low self-esteem. I would wear like baggy old clothes. I wouldn't really take pride in myself because I was under a lot of stress. I was trying to make the perpetrator happy, cook meals every single day from scratch, look after our child, clean the house every single day all by myself. I also had the financial burden on me as well, so it was a lot. I tried to get therapy, not to do with domestic violence, just general therapy, because I realised I was depressed and anxious. When I did the self-assessment and I told them everything, they actually referred me to a domestic violence organisation because they said the depression and anxiety is not from myself, it was from what I've been through with my partner. That's when it kicked in that, oh my God, I am a victim of domestic violence. I'm going to go through signs, symptoms and some examples. The reason why I didn't think I was going through emotional abuse, because it was very subtle. The tactics he used were very smart tactics. So he would never say to me, you can't wear that, you can't go out, but he would put things into my head. The shouting and the swearing, that was just a normal part of life. Like after being with my perpetrator for 10 years, that was normal to me. I didn't see that as emotional abuse at all. But verbal abuse is just as bad. If people are constantly shouting and moaning and complaining and criticizing, insults and mocking. Insults could be anything from the way you look to what you do. Maybe if you want to start a business, they're going to laugh in your face, or you want to study a certain subject or apply for a job, they're just going to mock it. And this also brings down your self-esteem. Threats and intimidation. Now, I don't really think I didn't really get threatened. I probably was intimidated by the aggression and the anger that came out of him. This one really hit home. I found out I was actually being emotionally abused, and I read this, I just came out in tears. Ignoring and excluding. Towards the end of the relationship, I was heavily neglected. So once he realised I was isolated from my friends and my family, which he managed to do, on the weekend he would leave me in the house by myself, and he would go out partying, and he would go out cheating, and he would just do whatever he wants. That's what also made my depression and anxiety even worse, because obviously I'm sitting at home by myself, I haven't got no social interaction. If you feel like you're going through that, you might be emotionally abused as well. Isolating is a part of ignoring. Ignoring's more like if your partner's like a narcissist and they give you the silent treatment where you live together and literally for 2 weeks straight he hasn't said a word to you. That's ignoring you. That's emotional abuse. I don't think I've been humiliated before, not by my partner, but I believe by one of his family members. His family members actually set me up where I made a fool of myself, and for a long time after that I was very shameful of that experience. She triggered me, she pushed my buttons, and she knew exactly what to do, and I obviously flipped out in front of people. See, I looked at the bad guy, I looked at the crazy one, not knowing that I've been emotionally abused by my partner and his family member at the same time. My head was in a mess. Denial of abuse. I realised this from somebody that I know, emotionally abusing their child. When the child confronted them about it, they blamed the child and they denied all abuse. So the abusers make excuses for their behaviour. They avoid taking responsibility for anything. After they abuse you, they act like everything's normal. They're charming, apologetic, they're giving. They abuse you, they know that you're going to leave, or they know that you're not going to take it for too long. So being physically abused and he beats you, that same day probably, or that same hour, they may spoil you rotten, buy you a new car, I don't know, take you out for dinner, spend hundreds of pounds on you, get you a new wardrobe, whatever it is to make you forget about the abuse, they will do that. So here's some examples of the emotional abuse. The threats of violence or abandonment. To me, the abuser said to me, "What would you do if I left?" And I was like, the same thing I'm doing now, because you don't help out financially, you don't help out with the house, you take no responsibility for nothing. So what is going to change? It's just that I'll have more space in the bed. He was threatening to leave me. I didn't know. And like, he really got upset about it. But if this person uses violence to control you, maybe they might, throw their weight around, maybe break things. When I ended the relationship with my abuser, he actually did a lot of criminal damage to my property and actually called somebody out to fix it, to cover up his tracks. And then when I didn't let the company into the house, they charged him a fee of £100 to come out, a call-out fee, and he actually passed that fee on to me to pay for. And even now, that fee is getting passed back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Compulsive lying. Oh my God, like, these people lie about anything. My abuser didn't work for years. Like, I was financially abused by him as well. He would always get fired after 2 weeks, or he wouldn't be paid from work. So it's like, when I finally realized what kind of person he was, I realized he either got himself fired or he never even attended the job. I lie about stuff like someone hating them, someone not giving them money, someone just literally anything, things that you just would not lie about. They will lie about it to gain control. They will say, "I'm homeless." They're probably not homeless. They probably have somewhere to stay. They just don't want to stay there. They want to stay with you so they can control you. For instance, if they're trying to isolate you from your friends, they will go to your friends and say a whole bunch of lies. Again, the compulsive lying, all of these lies, and then next thing you know, you're not friends anymore. Sometimes they make the friends leave because of lies. My abuse got worse as soon as I had my child, and then literally as soon as my child was born, he said to my family, "You guys can't come around to the house." When you have a baby, the first 2 weeks, everyone's in and out the house, everyone wants to see the baby, hold the baby, make sure you're okay, help you out with dishes, cleaning. He didn't want that. He wanted me to be in pain and do everything myself. He even expected me to do dishes after giving birth. Craziness. And he even got jealous when one of my family members came over to do the dishes, holding back important information. So my partner was in a lot of debt. I didn't know that. So when I found out he was cheating, I went through his things. In the relationship, I would never, ever, ever think about going through people's things. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. So I had a lot of trust with my abuser. I saw debts from a year, 2 years previously, and debts, court debts that can actually put you into prison. Very disrespectful. My abuser was very, very disrespectful towards my family, towards myself. He was very smart about the way he dealt with me, because everyone else had a different treatment from me. But obviously mine was manipulation and subtle put downs as a servant. So I was cooking, I was cleaning, we had business together, I was doing all the accounts, I was literally doing everything. He was getting the money, he claims, but somehow the money never turned up. So can you imagine being with someone, they're always working, but there's no money, did get money. Instead of giving it to me and his child, he went and bought an expensive laptop. Refusing to please, manipulation. So for instance, the house was never clean enough for him. Even if the house was clean, it wasn't clean enough. Just thank God that I'm out of that situation. Your life is falling apart so it can fall together. You just need to escape for your mental your mental well-being. I just want to help you guys understand what's going on and how to get out of this situation. If you do like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and please leave in the comments below if you think you're going through this, or if you have been through this. Let me know what you're going through, and let's help each other, guys, through our knowledge and experience, and let's be there for each other. That's it for this video, and I'll see you for my next video.